How's it going, everybody? MTG Mondays here, and I'm back with a Commander spoiler today. It is October 24th, 2016, and I'm super excited because we have Commander 2016 coming out here soon. It comes out next month on the 11th, and I am super excited for this set because, as you guys know, Commander is my favorite format, and this is a time where they're doing four-color Commanders. And so that is pretty awesome. So I thought I would go over some of the uh, spoilers for today and give you my opinions and stuff on them. So first up we have Assault Cinderhorn. He is 3 in a red for a 4-2 with haste. At the beginning of the end step of each player, if no creature attack this turn, put a fury counter on him, and then he deals damage equal to that player equal to the number of fury counters on it. So a couple upsides of it is that he's a quick must-answer damage. Not only is he a 4-2 with haste for 4, he starts to deal a lot of damage if in the early turns if you can get him out there pretty fast. He has decent power. He's 4 for a 4-2. The low toughness kind of does suck, and the 4 converted mana cost is, it's not bad, but it's not good either. He's all around just pretty okay. Next, we have one of the first generals that we see, and it is Atraxia. Atraxia. I can't say it. Anyways, Atraxa, Praetor's voice. She's a commander in green, white, blue, black colors, which is pretty awesome. She is 4 for a 4-4. Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, and Lifelink. That's pretty sweet. The only real relevant ones there are like Flying, Vigilance, and Lifelink. Death Touch is okay, but she's a 4-4, so. Proliferate is kind of a plus. You only get to do it at the beginning of your end step, but that doesn't really matter. Her picture is pretty freaking awesome. I really like the way that she looks. And the minus for this one is it's kind of an overall boring card for a general or a commander. Just having all the keywords of Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink, and just kind of throwing Proliferate on there, it was kind of disappointing for how cool this thing could have been. But I don't know, I like her just mostly because of the access of color that she gives you. But Bruce Tarl, Boorish Herder, this guy is awesome. First of all, that picture is just amazing. He reminds me of Braum from like League of Legends with an ox behind him. Partner is pretty cool. It's a new thing that they introduced in this commander set. Basically, you can have 2 commanders if each of your commanders have partner, and you play them individually, and you're able to have a combination of all of their colors, which is pretty cool. So you can get some really cool color combinations. His ability is pretty good. He's actually pretty aggressive. He's in red and white, so that gives you the red and white access. Depends on what other partner commander that you play him with, but just red and white on its own gives you access to pretty aggressive creatures. And so giving a creature that you control Double Strike and Lifelink is pretty darn good. His stats are pretty okay for his cost. He's 3-3 for 4, so that's okay. And when he comes into play, he gives his effect to somebody. And he's an ally, which is pretty darn cool. With another partner, he can actually be pretty good. You can basically get 4 colors of allies, and yeah. Next up is Grave Upheaval. This was part of the mechanic spoiler for basic land cycling. It's a pretty fun effect. Being able to put a creature card from your graveyard into play and give it haste is pretty darn cool. The picture on there kind of looks like Progenitus or some kind of weird Hydra, which is pretty neat. Basic land cycling is back. It's a really darn good mechanic in 4+ color decks, even 3+ color decks. Some of the negatives of this, it's pretty overcosted in my opinion, and it's a sorcery, which kind of sucks. I mean, I can see why it's a sorcery, but there's a few other cards in the same color scheme that kind of do the same effect at an instant speed. I think Cauldron Dance is one of them, and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's just an okay card. I really like it for the basic land cycling though, and that's about it. Crom, Ludwig's Opus. The name is really cool. I dig the Ludwig's Opus part. It's kind of neat. Um, Partner's pretty fun with that. You're able to get some really cool combinations of colors. Having haste is always a plus on your commanders, and just the inherent card advantage for later game when your opponents are casting more than one spell a turn. So that's pretty nice. He's kind of he kind of reminds me of kind of a fixed version of Ristic Study in a way. Um, One of the minuses is that he's 5 for a 4/4, which is just, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not good either. And he's kind of just boring as a commander on his own. I do understand that he has partners, so you're actually going to have two commanders, but um, I mean, he doesn't really do anything else. What's this one? Delli, Chosen of Krufix. Um, First of all, the art is really cool. It's very reminiscent of the Prophet of Krufix, which is awesome. Partner is another awesome ability. I really like that being able to have two commanders thing. There's a possibility to abuse her effect with a few things. I'm not sure with what. It's going to take a little bit of setup with drawing some cards and being able to untap her with possible colorless mana or colorless mana. Stats are a little weak, but I mean it's fine. It's 2/3 for 4, which is not bad. So yeah, Primeval Protector. It's a pretty sweet art. It's an avatar, which are pretty cool. The converted mana cost, though, I mean 11, which is pretty awesome for a 10/10. Possible fun with some blinking, being able to blink him and put 1/1 counters on each other creature. Pretty good. Um, there is a possibility of you playing a 10/10 for 1. Um, it's noted that it says for each creature your opponents control, not just an opponent. So that's pretty good. Prismatic Geoscope, pretty awesome art. It's very pretty. It's going to be powerful in 3+ color decks. Just being able to tap it, basically to have it as an extra Gilded Lotus in a way. It's going to be pretty good. It does enter play tapped, but that's kind of fine with mana rocks nowadays. Sidar, Kondo of Jamura. Good costed for a 2/5 with the ability that he has. It's kind of a moat ability, and he does really well with Ophadian type creatures, being the snakes and everything, that whenever they deal damage to an opponent, you either tap something down or draw a card or things like that. He has Partner, which is cool, and a minus of this is just, I mean, flanking is just, really? You had to throw flanking on there, I guess. He is a knight, so he gets flanking, but yeah, I think flanking just felt like it was just kind of stapled on there. Silas Ren, Seeker Adept. He looks really cool. He, first of all, is a metal dude, and he has a pretty funny smirk, but pretty low cost for a commander. Possible to abuse him with things like Mindslaver. If you can set it up to where you can clear your opponent's field, use Mindslaver, hit him with Silas, return Mindslaver on the same turn or even the next turn, it's going to be pretty good. And another thing that they just kind of tacked on, Death Touch. I don't understand it, but I mean, he's a good blocker, so that's good. Sublime Exhalation. 7 for a sorcery with the new mechanic Undaunted that destroys all creatures. So Undaunted is this spell costs 1 less to cast for each opponent. It's a kind of a neat mechanic. It's a neat idea. Pretty cool looking art with the souls kind of coming out of their face. But in a 4-player game, it costs 4 as you start the game, and it becomes worse and worse later in the game. So if you're down to the last 2, it's going to cost 6 to play for basically Wrath of God ability. So in a 4-player game, you're able to have another Wrath of God for 4, but it just gets worse and worse later in the game. Sylvan Reclamation, pretty neat ability. being able to exile 2 target artifacts and/or enchantments at an instant speed are pretty darn good. Gets around indestructible and all that jazz. It is instant, does cost 5, but I understand why it costs 5 because you're able to hit up to 2 targets. And the added basic land cycling is always nice. Vile Smasher the Fierce. I love me some Goblin commanders. There needs to be more, in my opinion, but hey, that's just me. It can be really fun if you partner it with a blue commander of some sort. Um, Speaking of partner, he has partners. So that's a plus side. He's pretty darn low cost. He's 3 for a 2/3, so that's really good. Um, some of the negatives is that it's only the first spell each turn, which is not really a negative. It's not abusable as it could be, but again, I understand why they do that. Another negative is that it's a random opponent that he deals damage to, which is just kind of it's fun, but it's just like the variance is very high. The reason I think he'd be really fun with partnered with any kind of blue commander is that you can take extra turns, somehow recur your say time stretch to deal 10 damage to somebody a turn. Somehow it's going to be abused, but yeah, he seems like he's going to be pretty darn fun. So that's everything, guys. Tell me what you guys think so far of the spoilers of the new Commander set in the comments down below. I look forward to spoiling more cards as they come out, and yeah, I'll see you next time.